So UFC 288 has received a much needed last minute replacement. We've now got Gilbert Burns facing Belal Muhammad after Charles Oliveira pulled out of his contest that was scheduled to take place on that same card against Beniel. But that fight has now been pushed out till next month. The card was looking a little bit shaky for quite some time. It was very top heavy once that fight looked like it was no longer going to take place. As we know, the main event is going to be Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling. That one I can't wait for. Unfortunately, the rest of the card was looking a little bit lackluster, but Gilbert Burns and Belal Muhammad have come to the rescue, and this is a fight that's going to have very big implications for the welterweight division. As we know, leading into Gilbert Burns' last contest against Jorge Masvidal, Dana White came out and basically said that Colby Covington will be next in line for that welterweight title shot, and the reasoning for that was that he was the backup fighter for the contest between Leon Edwards and Kamaru Usman. Now, I think Belal Muhammad and Gilbert Burns realize that they're getting on in age and their time is coming when they're going to have to hang it up. So this will be Gilbert Burns' third fight this year because he realizes he needs to make a statement and get in that welterweight title shot before year end. So it'll be interesting to see how Gilbert Burns fares against Belal Muhammad, especially after he's just come off a 5-round decision victory over Jorge Masvidal. And on the other side of the table, we've got Belal Muhammad. He's been on a fantastic run as of late and scored some great victories. No one really hears much of him, doesn't feel like he's getting the respect he deserves, and he also feels that this is his time to make a statement for himself. So the card for UFC 288 is definitely looking a lot better than what it was just a few days ago now, because now in my opinion, I think Gilbert Burns is in a similar spot to what Jorge Masvidal was in before he was going to face Gilbert just only a few weeks ago, is that he really needs to win the rest of his fights throughout 2023 if he's got any shot at taking on the welterweight champion before his career ends. I'm really looking forward to this contest. I think Belal Muhammad, it's going to give him a lot of shine, and I think the UFC has done a fantastic business choice putting him up against Gilbert Burns in a co-main event slot. Because Belal is that smaller name, if he gets a victory over Gilbert here, that'll catapult him so that he becomes a little bit more of a star and much more likely to get that shot against Leon Edwards. So I'm really excited for both of these fighters to finally get the opportunity in what appears to be a number one contender spot. Colby Covington isn't going to be too happy with this, but let's be honest, he didn't really deserve the shot anyway. You know, he hasn't really fought for quite some time, and he's suffered a couple of losses recently to Kamaru Usman, who just lost his rematch against Leon Edwards. It raised the question for me, what do we actually think is going to be next for Colby Covington? Because I think after this fight, he's going to find that he's not going to be the number one contender like Dana White promised, and he's going to have to return and take on a top contender within the division. So I'll be doing a video later on who I think is going to win the contest between Gilbert Burns and Belal Muhammad, so make sure to check in for that. So I believe this is going to be a lot bigger test for Gilbert Burns than what it was against George Masvidal, especially that he's coming off a short turnaround. That short turnaround might come as a little advantage for Gilbert Burns because he has spent some time in the octagon recently, whereas Belal Muhammad's having to prepare for the fight from step one and only a couple weeks out from the fight. Now, I'm sure he keeps fit year round, but I'm not sure if he's fight ready. Gilbert Burns is now cutting weight for the second time in the matter of a few weeks. That's going to take a hard toll on his body. So nonetheless, I'm very excited for this contest. So I just wanted to bring you guys this news as soon as I could. We'll be doing a prediction on this fight later on in the day, so make sure to stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all later.